What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Father-Son Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Paul.
My name is Justin, and we are the Father Son Fantasy Football Podcast, like we just said. So if you guys are new, please subscribe. We're going to have content coming to you all season long, helping you with waiver ads, who to target, recap of the previous week, and then we're going to do our start sit episode, and we're going to talk about the listener. We'll get to that in this episode.
Week one is in the books, Justin.
Week one's in the books. Finally, we had Monday Night Football yesterday. I said we should talk about that real quick. We'll start with we're going to start with the Sunday night games, and then we'll go to the Monday Night Football games. But let's just say that I was shocked by the Jets. I think
their defense is for real.
And if they had a legit pass rusher, they'd be very, very scary.
Their defense shut Stafford down.
I think that was your start of the week. Honestly, I don't think you said Rivers. I think you said Stafford. I think you said you were going to go Rivers. I think. But you said Stafford, and that did not go well. But it's okay. I mean, everyone else was in the same boat as you, thinking the same thing. So
right.
All right. So yeah, once again, follow me on Twitter at JustinFSFF, and then at the podcast Twitter's at FatherSonFF. I can follow you back on there. Continue to grow. We try to keep our episodes shorter. That way, you guys don't have to sit there and listen to a whole hour plus podcast, and you can just get the information quickly and where you need it, I guess, in the most convenient way possible. So, before we get into today's episode, I want to shout out to our sponsor. So if you're tired of getting crushed by the pros, DFS players, and sports bettors, listen up right here. TheQuantEdge.com has the tools you need to play like a pro. They have a lineup optimizer, injury tool, wide receiver cornerback matchups, and a head-to-head tool. You're going to be armed with everything you need to win. You can make up to 150 lineups in seconds. You can see matchups to exploit, compare players to help you make the right decision you're on the fence about at TheQuantEdge.com. You're going to get exclusive access to the industry experts, articles, podcasts, and the TQE community by participating in a premium membership chat. And we here at Father Son Fantasy Football have a special deal for our loyal listeners using the promo code FSFF, capital or not, doesn't really matter as long as you enter in the FSFF. That's 4 letters. You get $10 off your first month, and you can use that money you saved to go play in DraftKings or FanDuel. So you go to thequantedge.com today to sign up today. And like I said before, I won money week 1 in DraftKings because of it. It helped me out a lot. And then now with all these injuries that happened that we talked about in the last episode, you can see how teams, where the targets go, where the carries go, depending on those injuries. So it's very helpful, and they can help you win some money, as I experienced firsthand week 1. And it's not a bad thing. We like saving money here, right, Dad?
Yes, we like saving money. Money is good in our pocket.
Yeah, so we're going to go over week 1. We're going to look at trade targets, guys to, I guess, what's noise, what's not really. And week 1, you don't want to overreact, so it's kind of, just got to go with the flow, I guess. But you don't want to make too many rash decisions with your roster because you spent all offseason doing research in just one game. It's only 6% of the whole season, so it's a marathon, not a sprint.
There was a lot of disappointing people, though.
Yeah, we're going to get into that in a second. So let's say we get into it right now.
Let's get into it.
So, what game do you want to start out with first?
Let's start out with the blowout of the week.
The blowout. Let's say we start out the 1:00 games.
Okay, well, let's start out the big shocker there. The Bucks and the Saints.
Bucks and Saints. Yeah, I don't think anyone expected.
Oh my goodness!
That to happen. What side of the ball do you want to start on first? You want to start about Tampa Bay? Or you want to start the Buccaneers?
Start on Tampa Bay. Go for it.
All right. So I think Ryan Fitzpatrick, 417 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions on just 28 passes. So he had the 4th highest single game, I think, figure in average yards per attempt ever, and now 17.75 yards. So that's insane. The efficiency you saw in this game is unsustainable, and I think Mike Evans looked good. He had all 7 of his targets he caught. Chris Godwin got in the end zone, and Deshaun Jackson went amazing. He had 2 touchdowns on, I think, 146 yards. But this dude, I think Deshaun Jackson is a sell high. If you had Deshaun Jackson, you were trying to trade him right now. He also has a concussion. He's probably not going to play week 2. That's why we said in our last episode, I said Chris Godwin was a must-add because this guy actually played more snaps than Deshaun Jackson and still had a touchdown. But I think Deshaun Jackson's the guy. If you look at the snap percentages, Deshaun Jackson only played 30% of snaps, where Chris Godwin played 70%. And that was kind of shocking to me to see that. So I think Deshaun Jackson got lucky. He helped you in your best ball leagues.
but going forward, he's hurt. He's going to be out for a few games.
At least one with a concussion. He has a grade 2, I think it was. So I think Godwin is the guy you're trying to get, and I
Right,
think
Godwin.
Evans is a good player. It looks like I was all wrong about him. I didn't expect this week 1
I
against
mean,
Marshawn
nobody
Lattimore.
did. The
No.
Saints were the biggest favorites of the week at 9.5 points, but Ryan Fitzpatrick had other plans. He destroyed him. I don't even understand.
Yeah, no one understands. So let's go on the other side of the ball. New Orleans.
Gosh.
I wore my Michael Thomas jersey shirt to the sports bar we went through, and let's just say, wow. Oh,
Wow.
Michael
The
Thomas.
defense
baby.
played like garbage.
Yeah, no one expected that. But dude, Michael Thomas, 16 and 19 targets.
Yep.
Jeez.
It was a monster. 180 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, this offense is Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas, and Kamara may have not gotten that much.
Fitzpatrick rushed for more yardage than Kamara.
Wow, I mean,
He did. He only rushed for 29 yards and 8 carries, but he scored 2 rushing touchdowns and had 9 catches for 112 yards and 1 touchdown.
wow. Yeah,
And
no.
Drew Brees, I mean, look at Drew Brees. He didn't have a bad. He had 439 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Yeah, Kamara had the second. I mean, Drew Brees is going to start every week. I think Drew Brees is elite, and he's going to be more elite this week too, with another easy matchup. So I'm not even concerned about that. But the main takeaway here was Alvin Kamara. He's a workhorse. He's playing on the field a lot, and I am not worried about him at all. Even when Ingram comes back, because Ingram still got to see. But they go against Cleveland this week, so I think it's another start for Drew Brees. And Kamara was second this week in running back targets with 12, and the guy who was first in targets for running backs was Melvin Gordon. So let's talk about the Chargers game versus the Chiefs. Melvin Gordon, I did not expect this guy to get 13 targets. I was shocked. Eckler only had 5. Eckler did do very good. I would think that was a surprise me a little bit, but I mean, Melvin Gordon is the guy there. He had 76% of snaps, where Eckler only had 27%. Philip Rivers threw the ball 51 times. And I said that to you when you were watching.
51 times.
We were watching the game. I said that to you, and you were like, yeah, it happens all the time, and it really does. They throw the ball a lot. The Chiefs were better than expected. Melvin, I can't believe I'm still stunned by that number. 13 targets from Melvin Gordon. His 2018 potential is insane right now. Mike Williams had an encouraging day. I liked where he looked. Gates didn't really do much, but
well, Mike Williams had a good day because Tyrell Williams dropped a couple balls in the end zone. He was targeting the end zone a few times. It could have went the other way there.
It could have.
But even like you said, Eckler still had 39 yards rushing on 5 carries and 87 yards receiving with a touchdown on 5 grabs.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. I think this is a good sell high. If you have Eckler, you're trying to trade this guy right now and see what you can get, because that's efficiency, and you don't chase efficiency, you chase volume. And who was the guy that got volume? Was Melvin Gordon still, and I think
Melvin Gordon, right?
Eckler can cut into his volume, but Melvin Gordon, even with that, is still gonna this guy. I think has the opportunity to be top 3 this year, and I'm happy I have him. I'm happy I have him in one of the leagues. So let's talk about the other side of the ball. And Keenan Allen's a stud. We don't have to say much about that. Keenan Allen's a stud.
Yeah, we don't need to say anything about him.
And Rivers, I think he'd be a weekly starter.
Absolutely.
Either. So let's talk about the other side of the ball. Kansas City. No one knew what to expect about seeing Patrick Mahomes. But
he didn't
I
waste.
was right, and I think you were wrong. I'm going to say this so far. After 1 week.
No, I'll say I was wrong.
No,
he
after
didn't
1
waste
week.
any
That's after
time
1
turning
week.
heads.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have great stats, but he was very accurate. He was 15 to 27, 256 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So, I mean, he had a great game.
And I mean, fantasy football is meant to be hard. I think if I'm doing DraftKings, I want at least one lineup in that has Mahomes and Hill stacked together. Because not Jeremy Hill, Tyreek Hill. Wow.
Oh my gosh, I was wrong on him too. I thought he regressed this year. Oh my
coming
goodness.
back around on him. It was 1 week, but this guy is like, there's fast.
I just call
there's
him
very
the freak.
fast. There's very
Call him
very
the freak.
fast. And then there's Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is so fast. He had 30% of targets in this offense. I'm still shocked about what he did, and that punt return was insane. The thing is that I was actually shocked about was that Sammy Watkins played more snaps than Tyreek Hill. Sammy Watkins played 91% of snaps. Tyreek Hill only played 71% of snaps. And if I have Tyreek Hill in any leagues, which I don't, but if you do have him, I definitely send a text or an email out to other owners asking what they'd give for him, because you can get like guys who had a bad week 1, like DeAndre Hopkins maybe, and someone like even someone else for Tyreek Hill, because Tyreek Hill, yes, he's gonna have these weeks, but you can really see, I don't know, you can see this guy like still doing as good, but you can get a lot of value for him right now because his value's at an all-time high, I think. And that stat line, 8 targets for Tyreek Hill, I was shocked, but he wasn't. I don't think he ran a lot of routes. I think he still ran.
All right, I'll just talk about the running backs there. It's too early to panic, but Kareem Hunt did nothing to write home about. He failed to secure his only target.
Yeah,
He
he
only had
had no catches,
16
which was
carries for
awful.
49 yards. Spencer Ware nearly matched him in yards from scrimmage with 40. So I mean, if Ware demonstrated anything, he's at least a premium handcuff. I mean, he did. He matched him. It's too early to panic on Hunt, though.
It is. It's a little too early to panic. I wouldn't really worry about Hunt. I mean, he didn't have a recession with Patrick Mahomes but Mahomes had a 13.22 average at the target, and it's not ideal. I think every week, I think this defense is still good. The Chargers defense, and Kels did not do anything. I wouldn't panic on Kels. I told him I wouldn't try to trade him, but
No, no, you can't. Yeah, I mean, he's Kelsey's going to be Kelsey. He had a bad game. He had one catch. Come on, he's not going to do that every week.
yeah. Hill, oh yeah, Tyreek Hill just ran 20 routes, and so far 81 wide receivers, 18 running backs, and 26 tight ends have ran more routes than Tyreek Hill this week. But he still led all non-quarterbacks in fantasy points this week, so he's gonna get his numbers and he's gonna produce. But it's a little concerning as volume isn't up, but he's very efficient and I guess no regression so far. But it's been 1 week, like we just said. And then one more thing, Watkins is a hold until we see something. I'm hoping something happens with the volume he's on the field, but. Other than that,
Right.
and then speaking of a guy who got a lot of volume, I think we can turn over to. We already talked about Julio Jones, but another guy who got volume was Odell Beckham Jr. coming back in his first
Oh,
game for the New York Giants, and I just thought it was great to see. 15 targets on 37 pass attempts from Eli Manning. That's around a 40% target share. This guy is elite, and you, of course, I'm not trading Eli. I mean Odell Beckham if I have him, but he's gonna get his targets every single week, Dad.
I don't see no problem with his ankle either. He was running, turning,
And
cutting,
this was against
just
the
like
best
the old
defense in the
Beckham.
NFL. This was against Jalen Ramsey that he still got numbers on. And then I was
Right.
excited to see Saquon Barkley. He got 18 carries and 6 targets, and he did need a big play to save his day, but that was a very, very nice run. The jump cut to the
Yes.
reel. Opportunities there, and he was facing the best defense in the league, so I wouldn't be concerned about that at all. Maybe
No,
even the
that was
possible buy low.
right.
If someone's
That was a
looking to
great
sell him,
68-yard touchdown run he had right
that
there.
was amazing. This dude's this is great. And then Shepard
Evan
saw
Ingram, Evan Ingram did nothing. He had two grabs for 18
5
yards. He was just,
targets.
yeah, he dropped a
But
couple
it was
balls
kind
again.
of
He did
encouraging to
have two
see.
nice, he did have two nice catches that got called back because of penalties, but
Yeah, and then Shepard had 7 targets, so it was interesting to see Shepard get a target as much as he did. But that's a good sign moving forward if you're a Shepard owner.
now
Eli
back to
Manning
the Jag side.
sucks.
Back, okay, good.
Eli
Yeah.
Manning
No, he
sucks.
threw that stupid interception again like he always
Yeah, and the
does.
Giants lost in Giants fashion, where they just
But you
muffed the
got to
punt.
understand, they played the Jaguars, who have the best defense in the league. I mean, Giants defense looked very good. It really did.
Yeah,
I don't know what that. They had
without
a chance at the end of the
it's
game to
also the
win, and it
Jaguars
went right
offense.
through the
And
went
then
right through the guy's arms.
so now let's talk about the Jaguars. Yeah, it did. Let's talk about the Jaguars now. Severian Jenkins had 5 targets, didn't do much with it. He had a touchdown called back on a flag. That's my start of the week and didn't work. But no tight ends really did much this week, so I wasn't that mad about it. And I think you just cut him. You can keep him. Keelan Cole played 75% of snaps. Moncrief played 68. So it looks like those are the 1 and 2. And D.D. Westbrook had 49%. My love for Keelan Cole is still there. Unfortunately, this looks like a crowded wide receiver corps, and they're going to be using them all, which is stupid. But they should be funneling targets to Keelan Cole, but they're not going to do that. It doesn't look like it. T.J. Yeldon saw 62% of snaps, whereas Corey Grant barely got anything. So it looks like Yeldon is the guy you want to own if you're a Fournette owner. And I
Oh yeah,
think
he had 14 carries to Corey Grant had one.
and 7 targets, and he also caught a touchdown, but the efficiency was
Yes.
poor, both of them. Fournette was
Right.
tearing up the game before he got sidelined for the hamstring injury. He said he's good to
Yep.
go week 2, but hamstring injuries do linger, and
Yes,
if
they
you
do.
have Fournette, I'd make it a priority to grab TJ Yeldon.
If he's available,
If he's
absolutely.
available, I'd definitely make it a priority to grab him, like I already said, so even try to trade for him, maybe try to buy low on him. Other than that, not much to say. Blake Bortles didn't look too good. And
Nope.
there's that. And another game that didn't look too good was the Browns game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Browns, they're off to their best start since 2004.
Yes,
That's
they
insane
are.
to see.
They got a tie.
They did get a tie.
Listen, to their defense, the weather was crap
The
there.
weather was very crap. Njoku played a decent amount of snaps. Gordon had a nice Moss touchdown catch that he had. But let's just say the one takeaway I'm getting from this game is that one player is going to get volume. He's going to get air yards, which translates to points very well. And that is Jarvis Landry. This dude got 16 targets, had an average at the target of 13.9, which is insane because
Yeah,
you've never seen
yeah.
Landry do this before. Landry,
No.
his average over the past 4 seasons in Miami was 7.7. That's almost double what he was getting there. So this is plenty of volume to go around, but it looks like it's positive for Landry. Tyrod Taylor through 40 passes. You're not going to see that every week. In this game, to go over and overtime, but I can still see Landry reaching that 10 target number every single game. Nick Chubb played very little snaps, 4% of snaps, but it looked good. So I think next year,
Carlos Hyde was the bell cow there.
he looked awful. He did not do much for this carry. He had 22
No, but he
carries,
was
didn't
the
do
bell
much.
cow.
And Duke Johnson saw 6 of the 8 running back targets, like we all predicted, I guess, because you're not going to see that. But this was a very high volume game in general for both teams. So it's on the other side of the ball. Let's go to Pittsburgh dead. James Conner. Holy
let's
crap!
just go back to Njoku. He was targeted 7 times. Another disappointing tight end. He only caught 3 balls for 13 yards. Another guy who everyone was talking highly about. Another tight end who didn't do much.
Yeah, true. Like we said, tight ends didn't really do much this week unless you had Gronk or Jared Cook, who we're going to get to in a little bit. Pittsburgh Steelers, James Conner. Wow. It doesn't look like Le'Veon Bell. They don't need him because whatever running back they put behind his offensive line and his offensive scheme is going to do well. James Conner had
there's rumor now that he'll be back by the end of the month, but we'll see.
In a month, yeah. They took him off the depth chart for this week, so I think Connor's going to get the start week 2. So Connor, hey, he had all 36 running back touches, and yes, the weather kind of impacted the passing game because you didn't see much from Antonio Brown. But Juju looked good. Juju is an elite option as long as Le'Veon Bell is out, which I think
Big Ben was a train wreck.
He still had yards though because it was a high volume game.
3 interceptions, 3 or 4.
He
I
did.
think it was
He threw
3.
3 interceptions. I think that was also part of the weather. The weather was a big impact, and the road did not. Him being on the road,
game.
But the weather was a big thing. The weather did not help at all. Right. I think as long as Le'Veon Bell is out, Juju's going to keep posting these wide receiver 1 fringe numbers, and Bell. AB is still going to eat.
Yeah.
But Juju looks really good, and there's nothing else to really take away from that. So, what game you want to go to now, Dad?
Go to the blowout of the week. Ravens and Bills.
Oh, my gosh.
Bills did not get a first down the whole first half.
Let's talk about Buffalo Bills. Awful.
Oh,
the one thing you can look at is that
the
2 wide receivers are Kelvin Benjamin and Zay Jones, and this team was down 26-0 at half. McCoy couldn't really do much. I'm trying to trade McCoy if I have him. See what we can get for him. He's still going to get volume. And yes, Baltimore's a good defense, and Baltimore's home. It was also a crappy weather game. But other than that, I don't know.
Here you go. I'll sum up Buffalo's offense right now. They are a fantasy wasteland.
It's literally just.
They are terrible. That's it. Terrible.
So bad.
That's terrible.
So bad. It's not good. It looks like that was going to be their worst game of the season, but I would expect some bounce back. They're going to be bad, but they're not going to be this bad, I don't think. So let's talk about the other side of the ball where there was some fantasy implications. The Baltimore Ravens.
Flacco looked good.
Flacco threw for 3 touchdowns and 236 yards, but this is makes this his 20th straight game with a 300-yard performance dating to 2016. So
still look good.
34 pass attempts.
They did play Buffalo, but he still looked good.
Yeah, Mark Andrews is the tight end. I think take away. Nick Boyle caught 2 passes on the first 2 plays. That's noise. I think the real thing is that Mark Andrews and Alice Collins started, and then he fumbled.
He struggled a little bit. He fumbled. They sat him.
He fumbled. I think he fumbled twice. And then Javorius Allen, I think, is the main takeaway here. He's the receiving back in his backfield. I was saying before the season started that Alice Collins was going to catch 40 passes. Doesn't look like it this year. I think the 6 targets compared to Collins is 1. So I think Javorius Allen. Why people go and grab Philip Lindsay, who we're going to talk about in a second. You can go pick up Javorius Allen if he's in your league for free, and he's going to have the same kind of role. So Michael Crabtree got a touchdown. John Brown got a touchdown. It's a decent ad, but this game was very weird. I wouldn't take much away from him because the Bills sucked. So let's talk about Philip Lindsay and the Denver Broncos versus the Seattle Seahawks. We saw the Broncos. Lindsay had 17 touches and 102 total yards. Royce Freeman, they literally finished with identical rushing lines of 15 to 71. And that was after Freeman ripped off 37 yards on his final drive and when the game was away. Freeman didn't see any targets. Lindsay saw 3. Booker saw 2. It looks like Freeman's going to be nothing in the passing game, Dad.
No, but Lindsay's got value there too. But I wouldn't give up on Freeman yet.
I think Lindsay. I wouldn't give up on Freeman. I think the whole takeaway here is that you spent a 3rd-round pick on Freeman. You're definitely not happy about it. And I think if you got him in the 6th round, you're okay with it. I'm glad I got no shares of Royce Freeman in the 3rd round. But Philip Lindsay looks to have a role in this offense regardless of game script because they were up in this game and they were still using him.
Yeah. Emmanuel Sanders had a great game.
Emmanuel Sanders went off. Like we all talked about. We started a week. He performed like it. He had 10 catches, over 100 yards. He had a long touchdown. He's a slot guy, and a 10 of 11, and it's crazy. And then Demaryius Thomas still got targets too. He had 10 targets.
Yes, he did.
And it looks like Case Keenum's gonna look for these two guys. And Coral Sutton saw 5 targets too, so that's okay. And then the tight ends, they both suck. Jake Butt and the other one is Jeff Herman, I think it is. So I would not get any of those tight ends, but looks like Philip Lindsay is ahead of Devontae Booker in the passing down and in the running back pecking order. Emmanuel Sanders is not going to keep up his efficiency, but he should get the volume. So I'm okay with that. Not 11 targets every game, but at least 6 targets every game, I hope. Other side of the ball, though, Dad. Seattle Seahawks. What do you got to say about Seattle Seahawks this game?
Russell Wilson got it done again. I mean, Baldwin's probably done. Maybe not for the year, but he's going to be done for a while.
For a couple weeks. He has a grade 2 MCL tear.
Nope. So the guys there are Lockett and how about Brandon Marshall? We thought he was done. His career was done. Look at him.
Brandon Marshall.
I mean, he's going to be a waiver wire pickup this week. People are going to be picking him up.
Yes. Well deserved. He's going to have red zone value.
Yes. Yep.
And I think he played 65% of snaps. That was the third most of any wide receiver. Tyler Lockett played 98% of snaps. He ran 39 routes. And while Doug Baldwin, the whole offense structure is unclear, but what we saw was, Tyler Lockett's going to eat. The biggest thing I saw was after Doug Baldwin's injury, Lockett ran 15 to 21 routes from the slot, and that was against Chris Harris Jr., who's a really good cornerback. And then in this week, coming up, he gets the Bears defense that just gave up 27.3 PPR points to Randall Cobb, who was in the slot. So, a spoiler alert ahead of time, my starter of the week at the wide receiver position is going to be Tyler Lockett once again. Because it was Tyler Lockett's season. I am excited. He replaced Doug Baldwin in the slot because that's what Doug Baldwin usually runs for him. And I'm ready for Tyler Lockett to go off. You saw him have that big splash play, and he's capable of doing that every single play. And Russell Wilson makes time in the pocket regardless of the offensive line because of his legs. The running backs, they both played 44% of snaps. They both suck.
Yeah, nothing to talk about there.
And the tight end everyone else I probably asked about is Will Dissly. He played less snaps than Nick Vannett, and he had that long run. And Nick Vannett ran 3 more routes than Dissly too. So I fade the small sample size we got from this guy, and not worried about it. I wouldn't add him. I'd add Jonas Smith over him. So speaking of Jonas Smith, this game was the longest game in NFL history, Dad.
History.
Insane. Miami versus Tennessee. Let's talk about Miami first. My boy, Kenny Stills, 95% of snaps. He went off. He had 2 touchdowns, and this dude, I mean, wow. It looks like even with Parker possibly coming back next week or the week after, Stills is still going to have a role, and he's been known to get touchdowns on small volume. He doesn't need volume to be successful, and he had 2 touchdowns this game with 5 catches. 75-yard touchdown, he ran away. I think Stills is playing the most snaps, he's running the most routes on the team, followed by Amendola. So Stills, I think you can start him almost every week just because the volume should be there. This is a weird.
He had 106 yards. No one else on the team went over 40 yards receiving.
Yeah, Amendola seemed to be second in line though, ahead of Albert Wilson. You can't really take much away from Kenyon Drake. I'd probably try to buy Kenyon Drake in leagues. He did play way more snaps than Frank Gore. Frank Gore did look good. That's what I meant to take away. Jakeem Grant led the team with 7 targets, but he ran only 12 routes, so it's kind of hard to tell with that. But he had a nice punt return or kickoff return for a touchdown. Very fast.
He did. Yep.
Other side of the ball, Tennessee. Mariota got injured in his elbow, so Blaine Gabbert could be starting this week. It's still unknown as of this recording of the podcast, which is Tuesday night. This is the 11th. Delaney Walker's out for the year, unfortunately. I feel really bad for him because he wanted to play. But the big takeaway here is that Corey Davis is going to eat. This guy had the 9th highest WOPR, which is it weighs in air yards, targets, and all that stuff, and receptions in week 1. And it was just behind Michael Thomas. So everything is set for him at the breakout now. I think Corey Davis, you got to go try to acquire him in any league you can because he's going to get more volume just based on the law of conservation of targets. So the one guy goes out, he's going to get targets.
And Deion Lewis is the guy to own instead of Derrick Henry.
My start of the week at running back was Deion Lewis.
Deion Lewis played really well.
71% of snaps
He
compared
played
to
so
Derrick
much
Henry's.
better than Henry.
Derrick Henry only had 29% of snaps. Derrick Henry did have a 60-plus yard touchdown called back due to a blown holding call that was not really holding, but that's what happens. But it looks like Deion Lewis is the better player in this. But Jonnu Smith is a guy who I like, and I think he's gonna probably pick up right where Delaney Walker left off, but not get as many targets just because the report's not there. But he has the athletic profile of guys like David Njoku and OJ Howard, and I'm really happy to see it.
We're sad to see Delaney Walker get hurt, but now it's his time to shine.
Yeah, and then the whole thing about Deion Lewis, I think this game script dependent a little bit because they were down and they had to get the guy to pass the ball. So I think Henry's a hold, and you could possibly sell high on Deion Lewis if you get the right price. But I think they're both holds right now. It's hard to see. It's after one game. You don't want to overreact too much.
Right. Yes.
And a lot of running backs just in this backfield, so that doesn't help either. Next game, Dad.
All right, move on to the Bengals and Colts.
Bengals and Colts. You're excited to see Andrew Luck back, and
he threw the ball 53 times. Wow.
They did not.
53
I thought
times.
they were going to limit him. They did not limit him. However, his average depth target was only 5.5 yards, which makes it look like they're trying to ease him back in with that and not have him throw as many long balls. But
the biggest thing is with all them passes, 9 people caught a pass.
I don't think necessarily that's crazy too. I don't think it was mainly his short average at the target wasn't because of his shoulder. I think it was because of the game script. They were up in the game mainly until the last play. But so Naheem Hines appeared to be a clear passing down back, and he just ran 2 more routes than Jordan Wilkins though, and he out-targeted him 9-3. Wilkins out-carried Hines 14-5. I think Wilkins is a nice hold. Hines is a good buy if you can find him on a waiver wire. I'd add him too. It's interesting to see how it's going to look when Marlon Mack comes back. What else you guys?
Okay, that's it. The other
tight ends. Tight ends are there. Tight ends are there. I want to talk about tight ends real quick. Everyone's going to think about Ebron's touchdown and be like, "Oh, Ebron is the guy they own in this," but it's definitely not the case at all. Doyle is the tight end to own. Doyle got way. I think I'm gonna try to find the routes.
I think Ebron made his presence known, though. He really did. But I mean, Luck did throw 53 times, like we said. So a lot of people were going to catch balls.
Doyle had 10 targets. Ebron had 5, so that's more targets. Ebron ran 22 routes.
Right.
Doyle ran 50. So I would not overreact. I definitely try to go buy and
I still like Doyle.
Doyle is tight end to own. I'm not burning my waiver budget on Eric Ebron because he was 5th in the team in targets. I think this is going to be like a heavy passing team, though. It's not going to be a run-first team. So Andrew Luck, volume's there, and all receiving options get a little bump. Ryan Grant, like we talked about in the last episode, good guy to add because he looks to be the number 2 in this offense. Other side of the ball, though, Cincinnati.
Joe Mixon looked really good.
Joe Mixon is going to be a workhorse this year. He
rushed for 90. He rushed for 95 yards and a touchdown on 17 carries, and he also caught 5 of 7 balls for another 54 yards. He had a good game, great game. He's going to be the
Bernard just got 1 rush and 1 target. It is the Joe Mixon show. I would go try fielding what you can try to get Joe Mixon, like try to obtain this guy. He's going to be a workhorse. Yes, it was an easy matchup, but he's going to be a workhorse. Andy Dalton only had 152 air yards and 28 attempts, so it's a 5.4 average at the target. That's just awful. But AJ Green had a touchdown that kind of saved this day with that 38-yarder, and it was a bad pass. I don't know what happened there. It was the passing offense did not look that good. I think it could have been a week 1 thing, but Joe Mixon, single him up. He's doing good. John Ross, I'm not buying it. Tyler Boyd, I think you want over John Ross. So, speaking of guys who you don't know what to talk about, what's up with an awful game? Like, I don't know what happened here. I don't know what happened with the Bengals offense, but what happened with the Carolina Panthers, Dad, and the Dallas Cowboys? That was an awful game to watch. The big signal here is that Christian McCaffrey is the workhorse like we thought in the preseason. He played 85% of snaps compared to just 18% by C.J. Anderson. I think you drop C.J. Anderson if you have him on your team, he's not going to do anything.
Yes. Yeah.
McCaffrey is going to be a workhorse, and I think you try to trade for him this week too. DJ Moore, they're trying to ease him in slowly, and now the news came out today that Greg Olsen still wants to play in 2018, but it looks like his season's in doubt because he broke his foot again. So Christian McCaffrey's a buy, and another guy who's a buy is Devin Funchess for me. Devin Funchess is they're gonna probably go back to what they did last year, and Devin Funchess is the guy I'm going to try to trade for. Didn't do that good week 1, but he's going to be a guy who's going to step up in his absence like we saw last year.
Well, nobody did good in this game. This game was terrible. Cam Newton passed for only 161 yards. And on the other side of the ball,
wait, before Ian Thomas is the tight end you want to own, though. Ian Thomas is the rookie tight end.
Okay, yep.
That you want to own. Because the other guy, Chris Manhertz, is a blocker. And Ian Thomas, I can see him having some weekly streaming upside. It's interesting to see what he does. But if you have deep bench rosters, it's worth an ad. Other side of the ball, though, Dallas Cowboys, disgusting. Dak Prescott sucks. Zeke,
he was terrible.
They should be given.
He took 6 sacks. He had 6 sacks and passed for only 170 yards.
He's 29 attempts, too. Low volume offense.
Goodness.
Zeke caught 3 of 4 targets, which is encouraging because his quarterback, like we said, only threw 29 attempts. That's a 14% target share, and that's very good for a running back. So definitely hold Zeke. I would not trade him. I think the key thing here is that there's no real concentrated like target thing. I think they're trying to spread the ball
No.
out, but Cole Beasley looks to be a leading receiver, and I think that Beasley could be the guy you want in the short term. But I'm not adding him. I'm just holding on to Zeke, and I'm hating the rest of this offense. The
Right.
whole Allen Hurns sleeper thing. Nope, Allen Hurns is bad.
No. Right. All right. Enough Redskins at the Cardinals.
Redskins at the Cardinals. Let's start with the Cardinals side of the ball, Dad, real quick. What happened? What happened to the Cardinals? I don't understand. Sam Bradford's awful. Wasn't even a good defense in Washington. So I'm not even gonna. Even if you're in a super flex league or a 2 quarterback league, I would not add Sam Bradford. This is a mediocre offense at best.
David Johnson had a terrible game.
David Johnson, they didn't use him enough. They
37 yards on 9 carries.
the Larry Fitzgerald and David Johnson were two top passing things. I think the game script kind of impacted David Johnson's workhorse on the ground. Washington was unexpectedly to do that good, I guess, early on, and Washington had a lead, so they were playing from behind. So I think David Johnson's a good buy target if someone's trying to sell him. I don't see that happening, but David Johnson, hold him. He's gonna be fine. Fitzgerald's gonna be fine. Other than that, avoid everything in his offense. Washington side of the ball. Alex Smith. He did not have an average of target that was that high. It was 3.2, 96 total air yards, but he didn't do that bad for your fantasy. I think it's also because of the game script.
No, he didn't.
The game script, they were winning by a lot.
Yep.
Adrian Peterson though, wow. He played 53% of snaps, which wasn't a lot, but he definitely benefited from the game script. He carried the ball 26 times for 96 yards and a score. He had 70 receiving yards. That was mainly from that 152-yard catch he had in the sideline. Very situational thing. I think Chris Thompson, 6 of 7 targets for 63 yards and a score. And even with the positive game script, this guy was on the field. So Chris Thompson singles up. I love Chris Thompson. And I think that Peterson's going to need game script to produce. So I am not trying to get Peterson. If someone's trying to trade you for, like trying to give you him, say no. I try to trade away Peterson and see what you can get after that. Probably the highest volume he's going to have all year. What do you think about Peterson? What are you doing with Peterson? You holding him? Or are you trying to trade him away, or what are you doing? I'm trying to trade him away.
I would hold on to him for now.
I think
he had a good game.
You don't think it was all game script dependent? You think he's going to do it?
It could have been, but I'd hold on and see what he does in week 2.
Yeah. See, the hard thing about fantasy football is knowing when to sell a player and when to hold.
Right. Exactly.
If you have anyone overreacting in week 1, I think you try to sell. But like my dad said, some people don't like trading after week 1.
See, you like to move players around.
I like to move players around when
I like to hold on a little bit and see what happens.
The only problem with holding on too long is that they start sucking and you could have lost your sell opportunity. So I'm always looking at who I can sell and who I can buy. I'm more active than my dad on that side, but that's just who I am. And sometimes it does hurt me. And I'm not saying it works all the time. My dad, sometimes it's definitely better to hold a player than to sell. But I think Peterson being so old and them being up by so much is a sell, and Chris Thompson's a buy. Jordan Reed looked healthy. Let's talk about Jordan Reed.
The good news out of this offense is none of Washington's receivers cracked 35 yards. Jordan Reed hasn't played in a long time. He was the best non-running back pass catcher and hauled in 4 of his 5 targets for 48 yards and a score. So that was good to see for Jordan Reed.
Yeah, definitely was. I think, again, game script played a factor into all this offense. The average at the target with Smith, that's why no one had over 35 yards, is because of the game script. They didn't have to throw the ball down the field. So hold everyone on this offense. Jameson Crowder still got some targets, but I'm still holding on everyone.
All right.
Sunday night football. Right? Are we done with the 4 o'clock games?
No, you didn't do Texans and the Patriots.
All right, Texans and the Patriots. Let's talk about Tom Brady and Deshaun Watson, the guy, the man, the myth, the legend. Let's talk about the Texans first, Dad. Houston Texans. I think the big
Deshaun Watson, terrible.
Deshaun Watson is terrible.
His offensive line is terrible.
They lost the right tackle too, which makes their offensive line that was hard really bad worse. Lamar Miller had 20 rush attempts. I think that's a good thing to see, especially when they're down. He's gonna get the volume. Alfred Blue.
He had 98 yards.
Alfred Blue vultured a touchdown. I cried.
I know.
But Lamar Miller is the key lead back. Ryan Griffin looks to be a tight end in this offense. He had 85% snap share. Don't worry about Alfred Blue. I don't think he's going to do it all day. And then Bruce Ellington scored. And I think the reason why that happened was because Will Fuller did not play. If Will Fuller is back, Deshaun Watson's probably going to do better. And Hopkins is Hopkins. He's going to be fine. Don't worry about him at all.
Yep, no, he did fine.
New England Patriots.
Brady wasn't a stud or nothing, but he had 277 yards, 3 touchdowns. Chris Hogan was quiet with 1 reception for 11 yards.
Okay. Chris Hogan, he's fine. Hold him. He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. I'm saying that because I
Gronk
need
was
him to be
great.
fine.
Gronk, listen, I know you do. You love Hogan, but he didn't have a good game. Gronk had a great game. 7 for 123 yards and 1 touchdown on 8 targets.
Yeah.
Dorsett shined.
Dorsett, I think you keep. I think Dorsett is a thing until Edelman gets back, or he just takes the Brandon Cooks role over. Because the Patriots, they traded up a solid quarterback in Jacoby Brissett for Dorsett last year, and they moved Cooks. So I think Dorsett takes over his Cooks role, stretches the field. Dorsett's he's gonna have a role in this offense. I don't think
Yes, he
that's
is.
so. He played 76% of snaps. I like Dorsett. I think he's going to do good this year, and I think you can hold him on your bench and have flex upside each week. But Hogan's a hold. I'm continuing to put him in all my lineups. I'm not worried about it.
Well, no. Yeah, you can't get scared over that. It's week 1. You can't get scared over a
Gronk
guy
is
like
going to
him.
Gronk. And then the running backs, they just had Kenyon Barner, but it looks like Burkhead, Brady missed him for a receiving touchdown. James White had 9 targets. They're both going to have roles, and I'm going to wait to see. It's going to be interesting to see whenever Sony Michel comes back and plays, but.
Right, because New England always mixes it up in the backfield.
So Rex Burkhead I start every week, and White I start for now until Michelle is 100, or even Edelman's back, and then we'll move on from there. So
All right, how about
speaking
the
of
49ers and Vikings?
49ers and Vikings, let's talk about my man Stephon Diggs. Touchdown, baby.
Man.
Touchdown. I love Stephon Diggs, but the volume went to Thielen. I think part of that was because of the offensive line was a little banged up, and he couldn't hold the ball longer, so he had to get rid of it quicker. So Thielen was in the slot. And we saw far more opportunity than Diggs did, which was a little
Oh
sad.
yeah, Diggs only had 3 targets and or 3 catches. Thielen had 12 targets.
Yeah, so 1 week doesn't mean 2018. It's just going to be like
No.
2017. I think Diggs is going to outproduce Thielen this year. Rudolph had opportunity issues, but he did catch a touchdown. He's a guy I'm going to try to trade away. If you have Kyle Rudolph, I'm going to try to trade away for Kittle. Someone's trying to do that, but like you got to try to trade him away to the Olsen owner or Walker owner and try to get like a running back or a wide receiver back. Another one thing I want to point out on this is that Dalvin Cook was supposed to be limited in this game, and he still kind of was. He had 80% of snaps. He had 16 carries, 7 targets, and that's really promising. This is his first game back from his
Latavius Murray also had double-digit carries too.
Yeah, didn't do anything with him.
No, but he still had double-digit carries.
Dalvin Cook saw all 7 running back targets in this game, which was huge.
Well, he did. Dalvin Cook only had 40 yards rushing, while Murray had 42, I believe.
Right. Yeah, San Fran's an underrated running defense, so I think that Dalvin Cook, you saw him play 80% of snaps to Latavius Murray's 20% of snaps. They were up in the game, so they're using both running backs to run the ball. The takeaway here is that Dalvin Cook is 80% of snaps. He's the lead back, and they're using him like a workhorse, and it's not really a split, even though Murray did carry the ball more than anticipated. But 7 targets to running backs, all 7 went to Dalvin Cook.
Other side of the ball, Garoppolo suffers his first loss as a starter.
Yeah, that game was just ugly from him.
He threw 3 interceptions. I mean, Marquise Goodwin posted a goose egg. I had him in 2 leagues. He hurt me bad. I mean, yeah. George Kittle's the guy to take your head. 5 catches for 90 yards.
9 targets, 118 air yards. Looks to be the go-to guy. I think part of it could be that Marquise Goodwin was missing the majority of the game, but it's a huge positive seeing Kittle being used down the field. And he led the team again with 9 targets. Goodwin's injury is not serious, doesn't look to be, so I think he's going to come back for week 2. Dante Pettis looks to be the number 2 receiver ahead of Pierre Garçon. Pettis played 73% of snaps. Garçon played 80%. Alfred Morris and Matt Breida each touched the ball 12 times, combining for just 2 targets. Both were to Breida. Breida is the more efficient player, so I'm going with Breida over Morris in the long run.
Yeah, it's going to be a shared backfield, I think,
it's gonna be
moving forward.
It's going to be annoying for owners for outside of the ball. So, 3 games left that, right?
Yep, go ahead.
All right. My Sunday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers, what a story. That was insane. This guy is not human. I don't even know. Like, this guy was not even stepping on his left leg. It's interesting to see if the MRI comes back. But Jimmy Graham played 98% of snaps, but he only had 8 yards on 4 targets, and he's awful.
Disappointing to me. I love Jimmy Graham, but I did not love him in this game.
He was touchdown dependent last year. He's going to be touchdown dependent this year. I think
2 catches. Really? 2 catches, Jimmy? Really? That's all you got for me, Jimmy, is 2 catches?
Yeah, more than half. Let's talk about the other receiving options in this offense. Randall Cobb had that 175-yard touchdown. That was insane.
Insane.
The usage is a good positive, but I think that's over half of his yards were on that one play, so it's hard to see that every single week, but he's going to have some volume. Geronimo Allison, though. He's going to be a part of the passing game, and he looks to be the number 2 wide receiver. He ran 33 routes compared to Devontae Adams' 41. Cobb ran 39. Graham ran 39, so he's right behind those guys, and he still played 70+% of snaps. So Allison's the guy I think is the big takeaway. If he's on your free agent wire still, I definitely go try to pick him up.
Yep.
Other side of the ball though, Chicago. Their defense looked insane. I think Chicago, like wow.
Their defense is good. I mean, they just got bombarded by when Rodgers got hurt. He went back in a shotgun. They couldn't get him. They couldn't touch him.
Yeah.
When he was back in a shotgun, the guy who benefits from that is Cobb, and of course, look what he did.
Yeah.
Look what Rodgers did there in the second half was unbelievable. I mean, that's why he's the best quarterback in the league.
That is why he's the
right
best
now.
quarterback in the league right now.
That's why he's number one.
Hall of
I mean,
Famer.
just unbelievable.
Other side of the ball, Trubisky looked good in the first half, second half.
Yes, he did. Yep.
Allen Robinson looks good. Looks like he's healthy,
Yep.
which is good to see.
Yep. He looks good again. That's good to see.
96% of snaps, which is a good sign. And like Green Bay has an underrated passing day, and Green Bay as a whole has an underrated defense. But I do like Allen Robinson and Trey Burton played 87%.
Not nervous about Trey Burton. He had another bad game.
6 targets.
I'm not nervous about him yet.
There's a picture on Twitter. It was a third down and like 2 to go, and Trubisky was scanning the field, and there's Burton, it's like he parted the Red Seas, wide open in the middle of the end zone, and Trubisky didn't throw it to him. But there's that. Gabriel looks to be the clear number 2 in week 1, even though Anthony Miller was involved. He ran more routes than Anthony Miller, and he caught had more targets. The biggest takeaway from this game, though, I'm going to tell you right now, is that Jordan Howard is going to be a running back 1 this season.
Yes, he is.
He's going to be a top 12 running back, like I was saying, all offseason. Not all offseason. The later part of the offseason, because I was on Cohen in like June, but ever since like mid to late July, I was always on Howard. He had 5 targets, and he somehow caught all 5 of them.
Yep.
Cohen is still gonna be used on third downs mainly, but he's more of a well-rounded like touch distribution, which is it's a good look for Howard. I mean,
yep, Howard's definitely the guy there.
He caught 23 passes last year. He has 5 already in 1 game, so that's a good sign. It's not gonna be like that every single week, but Howard's stock is definitely on the rise.
Yes, it is. It's on the rise.
Now, last night's games, because we're recording this on Tuesday, was Monday night. The Jets, Sam Darnold era has begun. The first play from this first snap for Sam Darnold was a pick 6.
But then he got it together. He got it together after that.
He did.
That pick 6 was like, welcome to the league, kid. Youngest quarterback to start, right? Well, 21, was he 21 years
21
old?
in like 96 days or something like that. I don't even know.
Youngest guy.
He's
so good for him. Their defense looked really good.
Defense looked good. Running backs, they each had 10 targets. 10 carries, I mean. I think Powell started. Bilal Powell started, and he had more touches total. But Isaiah Crowell still showed that long touchdown run. And that's why I lost in the league this week. I'm not happy about that. I'd fade that efficiency against the Lions. I would not worry about that. Crowell's not going to do that every single week. He had no targets, only 10 carries. I tried selling Crowell if you have him. You have Crowell, I tried looking for trade offers to a running back needy team and try to get a wide receiver for him. The biggest takeaway for me was that Quincy Enunwa is going to get targeted the ball a lot. He had 9 targets.
Yes, he is.
I mean, I'd add him in any leagues available. His average per target was very low, but the weighted opportunity rating was I think 3rd highest in week 1, which is insane. And Julio Jones and Odell Beckham are the only guys who had bigger opportunity shares in their respective offenses. That's how crazy that is. So Enunwa looks dominant. I go trade for him. Anderson had that long touchdown. Other than that, didn't do anything. No other targets than that. So if you have Anderson, I'd be looking to trade Anderson away. I'm gonna try to do that this week, Dad, in one of the leagues here. I mean, a home league. And then other side of the ball, Matthew Stafford. What the?
I know everybody's saying that right now.
They had a 52
I don't understand.
pass to run to 15 rushing ratio. Kenny Galladay, holy crap! Kenny Galladay.
He's still in third. I wouldn't get overworked
yards.
with that. I mean, Tate had a good game. Marvin Jones had a couple balls that were overthrown to him in the end zone. He would have got his points there.
Galladay had 12 targets.
Galladay's still 3rd on that list. He's still 3rd on that list.
Galladay had 2nd most targets.
I wouldn't overreact on that now.
Galladay had 12 targets, 7 catches, 114 yards.
I would still take Tate or Jones over Galladay. I wouldn't overreact on that.
The biggest thing, this game script is not going to be like this every single week. They had 52 pass attempts. It's not going to happen.
Stafford, how many picks did he have?
4 or 5. I don't even.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. It's not Stafford-ish.
Yeah, but Kenny Galladay had played 93% of snaps. Jones played 89, and Tate played 81. So it is signaling that Galladay is going to be used every single week. But it's a hold on all of them. LeGarrette Blount started. It sucked. Kerryon Johnson looks good. So why don't they use him more?
I know. Why did they use him more?
His role.
They probably will. They should have used him a lot more. He looked good when he was on the field.
Nothing was set up well for him week 1 at all. Like, he was a negative game script, nothing to do. And I mean, I don't know. I'd definitely hold Kerryon Johnson this week. Let's talk about the later game, the Los Angeles Rams versus John Gruden's debut. So the Rams, I mean, they're girly. It's good. Cooks
Gurley's
did
Gurley.
bad.
Yep.
Woods missed a couple of targets, but looks like he had
Cooper Kupp is still the
he had
guy in the red
106.
zone.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp looks to be the red zone target like he was last year. He had
Yep.
2 red zone targets and a red zone rushing attempt, which is 3 opportunities, and he caught an 8-yard touchdown pass. So he kept the same role he had last year. But when they're that close in the red zone, Gurley is the primary option, and Gurley still crushed it. Woods, I'd hold him. He would have been better, but Cooks looks to be used.
Their defense is good.
Defense good.
Their defense shut down a passing attack of Carr.
Yeah, Cooks look to be used more than Watkins was last year in the same offense. Let's go about the Raiders though. 12 targets for Jared Cook. Holy crap!
Jared Cook was unbelievable. Amari Cooper, garbage.
All right, I'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, Cook was he always has good week ones. Rams are susceptible to the tight end in the middle of the field, so this is definitely a game script kind of thing. I wouldn't be too concerned about it. Jalen Richard, though, had 11 targets. I think also that was a game script. I called that. I didn't really call it. I said that he could be like Chris Thompson in his offense, and it looks like he's going to be a pass-catching back. 5 passes total that were caught by wide receivers in this game by the Raiders. So I would not worry about it. I love Amari Cooper, but I'm starting to think that Derek Carr is the problem and not Amari Cooper. Because one of the targets was at his feet. The Rams' defense is the thing that I think you look at because they're going to lock up wide receivers all year long. And they have Arizona in week 2. So, I mean, the Jared Cook and Jalen Richard had 23 targets. That's not going to happen every week. I think Cooper, they're trying to use him this week. A report came out today to say John Gruden was trying to use Cooper more this coming week. Marshawn Lynch looks pretty good. Doug Martin was the clear number 2. And all 6 is Martin's touches came in the first half, but Martin sucks. So, I don't know why they didn't use Lynch more. Lynch had that one run that was insane. He carried literally the whole defensive team. He just carried into the end zone. I don't understand that because Marshawn Lynch looked good, but they didn't use him enough. Yep. I'm holding on to all the other options in this offense. So Nelson doesn't really concern me. This is a weird game, and hopefully Gruden turns it around week 2.
Well, week 1, you really can't overreact on a star players not doing nothing because we've seen it every game. Every game this week, star guys didn't do nothing. Other guys stepped it up, and a lot of people are going to overreact. Just go out and get who you want off the waiver wire. Don't overreact on the good players. Hold on to the really good players. Don't get rid of them. Because other people just pick them up on you.
Yeah, 100%. I'd mainly hold. The one thing now, if you guys are new again, subscribe to us. We're going to be doing this every single week. We're going to have content coming all season long. Follow me on Twitter at JustinFSFF. The podcast where it's at FatherSonFF. And Ned, let's talk about the Listener League real quick.
Let's talk about how you crushed me by 100 points.
Oh, dude. I saw it coming. I'm not going to say I didn't see it coming.
What do you mean you seen it coming?
So I faced my dad. I had it was 189 to 88.
Oh, my God.
Oh, dude. I scored more points for all our Listener League members listening to this podcast right now.
Well, let me just, in defense to myself, I had Le'Veon Bell.
Okay, no Le'Veon Bell's not going to give you 100 points.
Time out. I had Goodwin who had a goose egg. So there,
a lot of people had a good one. No one expected that.
I'm not saying. You had Keenan Allen who went off. You had Sanders who went off. Thompson who went off. Mahomes went off. Kamara went off.
My team.
You had the most points in the league.
As you say, my team is awesome, baby.
We'll give you that. I had the lowest points out of everybody.
On my bench, dude. Oh, it's happening. This league. Shout out to Sean. He won. You had Philip win. Tyler Flynn won, and then the other Tyler won, and then Ahmad won. Everyone else, you lost. Dude. Week 2's coming up. We'll see how it goes. I'm facing Tyler, Dr. Watson, and Hyde, who actually had my favorite team in the league. And Dad, you are facing Mitch, who had an auto draft. So that's gonna be interesting to see. I crushed you all this week. Wasn't really expecting anything else. I'm gonna take this 1 week into glory and ride it until next week because I know it's not gonna last long. But I'm gonna enjoy it while I can. I'm gonna.
You go ahead and enjoy.
I'm gonna enjoy my 1 week of destroying my dad per usual when we're facing fantasy, except for the 1 year.
Yeah. No, it ain't per usual.
Yeah, no.
You did destroy me this one. No. In the Listener League, I wanted to whoop your butt so bad in week 1, but it didn't happen.
My team's elite, bro.
So look out, Mitch. I'm coming after you week 2, buddy. I'm coming after you. I'm not going to score 88 points this week, Mitch. You better do your homework.
Whoa,
I'm not going 0-2, Mitch.
He's not going 0-2. He says. Yeah, that was all very fun though. I love movies looking fun, looking active, which is always good to see. So there's that. And once again, if you guys are new, subscribe, write a 5-star review. We'll read it out on the podcast. Our next episode is going to be week 1 start sets. We may have a guest for it, may not. Stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you're new. And anything else you want to add to
that? Not really.
Not really. No. All right. So
I lost the subscriber league. I'm upset. So
one thing we'll say about here: Thursday Night Football is the Bengals versus the
Oh yeah, let's see.
the Ravens. You start Bengals
I'm
defense.
going with the Ravens.
I'm going with the Ravens too. Start Bengals defense.
Okay.
Start Ravens defense. You can even start the Bengals defense. This is gonna be a really bad game, I think.
Yep,
Start AJ
penalty,
Green.
yes.
You can start Crabtree. Start Alex Collins. Start Mixon for sure. Definitely start Mixon. And then other than that, I don't think you're starting anyone else in this game. There you go. That's as simple as that. Sit everyone else. Sit John Brown. You don't have that. If you wanted to go for a home run play in your flex spot, but other than that, not much. Right.
That's right. Start sit will be next episode.
Saturday morning.
Start and sit will be Saturday morning.
All right. We're out.
Out.